For today's cup of coffee, we're having discussions about Libra and how that is one of the most law and rule abiding signs that exist. It is the scales of justice. I have a Libra rising.
Which is bullshit. It's
like,
bullshit.
So anyhow,
that's like, it's only illegal to lay in the trunk while someone else drives if you get caught. It's only illegal if you get caught.
That's how people used to sneak in to drive-in theaters. So it's like, I don't know. At some point, somebody's got to see somebody bailing out of the trunk. So
I just want to have a road trip to Kingsport or something like that.
No. Especially not
Hell, I'll lay in the bed of the truck. I'll lay in the bed of the truck.
That's illegal too.
So it's just simply sitting in the back.
What, of the truck or the car?
Of the bed of the truck.
Yes, because if somebody has an accident or they have to brake suddenly, then human being who is unfettered becomes projectile.
That's why you have a cover.
Oh, good God. That's why you have cars.
That's why you have a
It's got a cover.
Fuck the car.
See, this is, we actually are like this all the time. We just let you in on all the time. You have a small window to observe, and it's never dull, or rarely dull. I found something remarkably cool. I have found quite a few cool things, but this one was enough to where I could make a video in and of itself on. Now, within this, because it comes from Iceland, there are words and names, which, no, I'm not even going to attempt. Now, the main one, which is Grýla, and if that's incorrect, people, then blame the little pronunciation site that told me how to pronounce this in Icelandic.
What do you use? What do you use to give you pronunciations? Just YouTube videos?
No, it was a matter of just a search which said how to pronounce this. But now some of the other ones, there wasn't even a video on it. And he's got cats stepping on the microphone. I don't know why he does that, but he does that. And then I actually watched part of a video on just general pronunciation of Icelandic. And all I can say is there is no way in hell with my accent that I could even attempt that. So, we're going to be talking about Grýla, the Yule lads, and the Yule cat. So I thought that was just remarkable.
We have a Yule cat right here.
That is an annoying cat. That is not the Yule cat. And this actually comes from Wikipedia, and it's under the heading of Icelandic Christmas folklore. And so this folklore depicts mountain-dwelling characters and monsters who come to town during Christmas. These stories are directed at children and are used to scare them into good behavior. I'm a fan of that.
Yes.
The folklore includes both mischievous pranksters who leave gifts during the night and monsters who eat disobedient children. Yes. That's how it should be done. And the figures are depicted as living together as a family in a cave somewhere. And this includes Grýla, who is a giantess with an appetite for the flesh of mischievous children who she cooks in a large pot. Well, I mean,
So she's a cannibalistic witch.
Well, she's
basically.
I don't know if some of them said she was like a troll, so I don't know if that really goes into cannibalism.
That's not cannibalism.
And her husband, that I am not even going to attempt to pronounce, is lazy and mostly stays at home in their cave.
Okay.
So, it sounds like he has a substance abuse problem to me.
Why did you say that?
Then, because I've known people. I have known people. The Yule cat is a huge and vicious cat who lurks about the snowy countryside during Christmas time or Yule. They're using that interchangeably, which we understand that that's not really interchangeable. Anyhow, this cat eats people who have not received any new clothes to wear before Christmas Eve.
Y'all want a cat?
So it's, a fashionista little shit.
None of our cats wear clothes.
No, they don't. I mean, and in one of
The only one that tolerates it is Hilo.
in one of the references that I read, that the cat is voyeuristic and peers through the windows of the kids to see whether or not they have new clothes.
It's like, get the fuck out!
You really is. I thought that was kind of odd. And then you have the Yule lads, who are the sons of Grýla and the Lazy Ass. And they are a group of 13 mischievous pranksters who steal from or harass the population. And I'll have descriptive names that convey their favorite way of harassing. They come to town one by one during the last 13 nights before Yule. They leave small gifts and shoes that children have placed on windowsills. But if the kid has been disobedient, instead they leave a rotten potato in the shoe. Yeah.
I mean,
and if anybody,
a rotten potato, that's all. I would rather a rotten potato than something else.
Oh, that a rotten potato, man, that's something that'll run you out of the house. You remember when we had those that time, and it's like, my God, what is that smell? this was not.
What the fuck is that?
This was not the time.
What the fuck is this?
It was not the time that you left the Easter egg in the closet. That it took me months.
That was not my fault. I
horrible.
left it in there. I was little. How was I supposed to know you left one in the closet?
I didn't leave it. You left it.
You left it there because you put it
Well, I
there.
guess you're right. I guess you're right. I'll own up to that. But the potatoes, sometimes things get put on top of other things, and bad things
It
happen.
wasn't my fault on that either.
And things sprout, and then it goes beyond the sprouting. So we don't keep potatoes in the house now, so it prevents that.
You can't eat them.
Yeah, well, I'm
anymore.
supposed to. I'm not supposed to. It says these Christmas-related folk tales first appeared around the 17th century and displayed some variation based on region and age of the tale. In modern times, these characters have taken on slightly more benevolent roles because everybody is turning into a bunch of weenies. I mean, seriously. And it's like, that's not a good thing. Okay, the first mention of the Yule lads can be found in the 17th century poem of Grýla, and Grýla had appeared in older tales as a troll, but had not yet been linked to Christmas. Grýla was described as a hideous being who is the mother of the gigantic Yule lads, who are a menace to children. Sounds like they could be a menace to just about anybody. Early on, the number and depiction of the Yule lads varied greatly depending on location, with each individual lad ranging from a mere prankster to a homicidal monster who eats children. They were used to frighten kids
Eat
into
the
good
children.
behavior, similar to the boogeyman. The King of Denmark objected to their use as a disciplinary tool.
Eat all children.
In the late 18th century...
You know, I got frowned upon. My friends was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because I put a mod in that let me grill children. That let me put babies on the grill.
That is historic. That is simply historic.
I got frowned upon. They looked at me like, what the fuck is wrong with, what the fuck is wrong with you that you got that mod and you decided to make one of your families basically cannibalistic?
It's called dark humor.
That's like, I wanted drama. I wanted extreme drama. So I killed off half the family, including the children.
Well, but the thing
in
is...
The Sims. It's not like I did that in real life. It was just The Sims. I wanted a storyline.
Right, because apparently any of that is
and
not...
I'm looked at like I'm fucked up. I mean, that's true, but like I wouldn't do that in real life.
No, tell them that you are drawing from historic references. That's it. That's all you have to say. It says in the late 18th century, a poem mentions 13 of them. And then in the 19th century, there was an author that I'm not going to pronounce his name either, drew inspiration from the brothers Grimm and began collecting folk tales. His 1862 collection is the first mention of the names of the Yule lads. And there was a 1932 poem poem called Yule Lads, which was published as part of the popular poetry book. Well, let's have a little more alliteration there. Christmas is Coming by an Icelandic poet. The poem was popular and established what is now considered the canonical 13 Yule Lads, their names and personalities. And going back to Grýla, the originally mention of her being a giantess in the 13th compilation of Norse mythology. I'm going to try this. It looks like Prose Edda. Don't know if that is it or not. But no specific connection to Christmas until 17th century. Again, they're reiterating she's supposed to be enormous and repulsive in appearance. The oldest poem depicts Grýla as a parasitic beggar. She walks around asking parents to give her their disobedient children, and her plans can be thwarted by giving her food or chasing her away.
Love that.
Originally, she lived in a small cottage, but in later poems, she appears to have been forced out of town and into a remote cave. Wonder why? It says, current day Grýla can detect children who are misbehaving year round. So, a little bit of Big Brother going on there.
Just a little bit.
Better Google. She comes from the mountains during Christmas time to search nearby towns for her meal. She leaves her cave, hunts children, and carries them back in her giant sack. She devours children. It's her favorite snack. And the dish being a stew of naughty kids for which she has an insatiable appetite.
Good.
According to the legend, there is never a shortage of food for Grýla. And also, according to folklore, she has been married 3 times. Well, now, if she's all that hideous and repulsive, what did they look like?
Right.
That's kind of frightening.
Yeah.
And so the current slob that she's married to is said to be living with her in the cave in the lava fields, along with their big black Yule cat. And, of course, the 13 sons.
We have he who.
Grýla supposedly has dozens of children with her previous husbands, but they're rarely mentioned nowadays. I thought that was interesting. The Yule cat is a huge and vicious cat who is described as lurking about the snowy countryside during Christmas time and eating people who have not received any new clothes to wear before Christmas Eve. He is the house pet of Grýla and her sons. Lots of redundancy in whoever wrote this. Though referred to as an ancient tradition, written accounts of the Yule cat have only been located as recently as the 19th century. The threat of being eaten by the Yule cat was used by farmers as an incentive for their workers to finish processing the autumn wool before Christmas. The ones who took part in the work would be rewarded with new clothes, but those who did not would get nothing and thus be preyed upon by the monstrous cat. The cat has alternatively been described as merely eating away the food of ones without new clothes during Christmas feast. So he just takes their food, not their bodies.
I guess that's he who.
The perception, the perception of the Yule cat as a man-eating beast was partly popularized by later poems.
Okay.
Then the Yule lads, who again are the sons of Grýla and the Slob, they are a group of 13 mischievous pranksters who steal from and otherwise harass peoples. All have descriptive names that generally convey their favorite way of causing mischief. They arrive one by one over the final 13 days leading up to Christmas, and like I said, and/or Yule. But anyhow, I'm just reading it how that's written. I'm not going to argue with them. And we had about the potato. And it says, in modern times, the Yule lads have also been depicted in a more benevolent role comparable to Santa Claus and other related figures. I don't know that I've ever heard of Santa Claus ever putting a rotten potato in somebody's shoe.
No, I've never heard of that either.
Now, we have threatened to put a potato in somebody's tailpipes before, but that's a little different.
Yes, that's very different.
They are generally portrayed wearing late medieval Icelandic clothing, but are sometimes shown in the costume traditionally worn by Santa Claus, especially at children's events. Now, here are a list of the Yule lads. We will be doing the English translation.
Please do.
Because it's just like, I can't even. I'm like, is this, what language is this? Because it's got these little curly cues and dots and slashes and yeah.
It's Icelandic.
Yes.
That's what language it is.
Yes. And it's like that.
Welcome
you have
to
have
Icelandic.
have to have another keyboard to even do that.
It's a very difficult language.
Yes, apparently to the few minutes of what I had watched on the YouTube, I'm like, oh no, this ain't gonna happen. First dude, sheep coat clod.
Sheepcoat clod?
Mm-hmm. And he harasses the sheep, but is impaired by his stiff peg legs. Now, what the hell happened there?
Where'd his legs go?
I don't know. Then we have Gully Gawk. Gawk.
Okay.
He's just looking. And he hides in gullies, waiting for an opportunity to sneak into the cow shed and steal milk.
Oh, fuck. Can we just skip to spoon liquor and, that's
I'm
it?
getting there. There's others. Stubby. He's abnormally short. He steals pans to eat the crust left on them.
If he's hungry,
I know.
give him food.
Spoon licker. He steals and licks wooden spoons.
He can just sit there while we bake.
He is extremely thin due to malnutrition.
Give him food. That's not mean. Give him food.
Right. When I tell you something, for some of us
Feed those little beasts.
that do use the wooden spoons, which I'm a fan of wooden spoons, always have been, those can also double as child corrective tools.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
All right, we have
I dare
pot
you.
scraper. I have done it before, and
I dare you to do it again.
Pot scraper steals leftovers from pots.
Give him just the food.
All of these dudes just poor. They're not evil. They're just poor.
Just give them food.
Bowl liquor hides under beds, waiting for someone to put down their. Looks like a skewer. It's a type of bowl with a lid instead of using dishes, and he steals this, and then he licks that.
Just give them some dishware and food and cutlery. Just help them out. They poor. They're not evil.
God love them. They were having the food bank out town.
I would leave offerings out for these.
They were having the food bank out town today, and those little guys, they could have stood in line like everybody else.
Could have.
And we got door slammer. He likes to slam doors, especially during the night, waking people up. Hey, I would like to put him into employment for some people's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, here, you can go wake these certain people up.
I didn't get no sleep, cousin.
Yeah.
Y'all go to sleep, cousin.
Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up.
All right.
Get the fuck up.
We have one that's called Skyer Gobbler, and this Skyer is similar to yogurt, and he has a great affinity for it.
Just get them food.
Then we have Sausage Swiper. He hides in the rafters and snatches sausages that are being smoked. Then we have Window Peeper. A snoop who looks through windows to search for things to steal. I'm sorry. Doorway sniffer.
Doorway sniffer.
He has an abnormally large nose and an acute sense of smell, which he uses to locate leaf bread.
Just get them food. Most of these just simply need food.
Then we have Meat Hook. And he uses a hook to steal meat.
Oh my God.
And then we have Candle Stealer. And he follows children in order to steal their candles, which were once made of tallow and thus edible. All right, let me explain what is happening in mountain culture. You've got a bunch of stoners and you got a bunch of meth heads, and they trying to lay about. You've got the meth heads that are looking at people's windows to see what they're going to steal. You've got the stoners that's got the munchies. So I don't.
You don't at me like that.
They have got the potheads have got the meth heads out stealing because the potheads too busy sitting there looking. They can't get off the couch, you know. So that's what's going on.
They're just so hungry. Just give them food.
It's
just
give them
food and cutlery.
These are all too typical typical Appalachian families. We probably are kin to half of these.
That's just poor people.
Like I said, that's just probably a lot of people we know. Anyhow, before the 13th, Yule lads became the most popular.
The Norway sniffer.
Anyhow. And then you got the ones that's on
These aren't even scary.
Then you got the ones that's on the painkillers and all that other stuff. That's a totally different section.
The
of
pill lickers.
You really?
They lick your pills to see which ones are the most potent.
That are peering through the pharmacy windows looking to see what they can steal. And
which one do I want today?
No kidding, folks. All jokes aside, if we go to the pharmacy and we go in to shop, you always put your pharmacy bags in the trunk so that somebody doesn't break out your window.
Yeah.
I would hate to think that somebody had broken out my window to find out that they had gotten insulin. You know?
Find out that they got Mucinex.
Yeah, really? I don't know.
You go for your stuffy nose. That's it.
They'd probably be snorting it. You know they would. They'd be crushing it and snorting it.
Well, guess what? Maybe they would keep their noses cleaner.
Yeah.
Faster.
And before these 13 Yule lads became the most popular, the description varied between locations. Some were said to be sons of Grýla. Others said they were her brothers. Again, that could be here in the Appalachian Mountains. Could be both. Some stories have only described 9 Yule lads, but every one of them had their own characteristic prank. And most of the different Yule lads can be classified into groups, such as those who steal food, those who like to play tricks or harass, and those who seem to be a delusion from nature.
That's called hallucinogenic.
That's what I was just saying. It says, for example, Gully Gawk, who just hides in gullies.
Just leave him be.
I don't see how that's delusional. That seems pretty straightforward to me.
Just leave him be. If he wants to be in the gully, just leave him be.
He's in his little hidey hole. Leave him alone. In the east of Iceland, there existed a folk tale of a specific group of Yule lads. They did not come from the mountains, but from the ocean. And one very obscure nursery rhyme mentions 2 female Yule pranksters who steal melted fat by either stuffing it up their noses or putting it in socks.
Just give them a baggie. Just give them a fucking tub or something.
Now, when
they're using that to cook the meat that the others steal.
When you are at a level of dysfunction that you're trying to snort fat, now you need to go to a treatment facility as soon as possible. That's where you need an intervention. So,
nothing like fat bakers.
I don't know. And then the socks, maybe they just got some like fungus or cracked heels or something like that. But the Yule cat,
I got foot fetish.
We would have tried to have used he who, but first of all, he wouldn't have sat still that long. Second of all, there's no way in hell he would have worn a hat.
He's a grump ass.
He is. And it makes it worse because where it's getting ready to get cold and rain and everything like that, and he's old man and he's arthritic.
Mm-hmm. He needs his summer too.
Yes. Snuffy Boy, we were able to take him to the vet today. They did determine it doesn't appear to be anything terminal. She said she thought it was a sinus infection, gave him an antibiotic injection, and he no longer smells like a sewer, which is wonderful.
He's also not a stuffy already.
No, he's not. So that was a
wonderful
wonderful
he hates
thing.
Me more. He hates me even more because of the row I had with him this morning.
Youngest kid had to stuff him in the bag, but he actually rode. He rode better than any of our other kitties. There goes he who.
Please don't set your tail on fire. A flaming ball of cat.
We were talking about the Yule cat. There he goes.
The mythical creature has appeared.
It's a wonder he didn't, flip us all off as he passed through. It could have happened.
I was expecting him to give us a stink eye.
Yeah, really, he does that also. So, interesting things. This is something that people could make their own. Yule lads, lasses, all that stuff. You could have loads of fun with that. Include your co-workers, family, friends. Yeah, there he is. That is the Yule cat.
Yeah. Look at those eyes.
So if you've had experiences with paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, Yule cats, Yule lads and or lasses, Grýla, anything like that, if you've got local, regional family myths, legends, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And thank you for sharing some mirth and laughter and coffee with us today.
Yes.
Because sometimes you gotta laugh about these things. And
always sniffer, spoon liquor.
Well, yeah, and it's like as far as addiction.
Sausage stealer.
In this area, when you are dealing with addiction, when you are dealing with poverty and stuff like that, this is just other forms of dark humor.
Yeah, you gotta laugh.
And you have to laugh about it sometimes because you get tired of being depressed and crying.
Yes.
So that's one of the things. And everybody's got families that's affected by one thing and multiple things for the most part. It all goes hand in hand.
It does.
Welcome to the mountains, folks.
Yep.
So where only the strong survive, for real. So know that you are loved. Know that we appreciate you. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you on the next cup.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe. This one's free. Y'all want him?
Don't give the cats away. Don't give the cats away.
You're one to put him on the mountain.
I was just going to put him up on the farm because they've got mice and rats and because he's beating up on the other kitties. Why should the many suffer for the one? Yeah, so he's going to have to watch his P's or Q's or he's going to have a different kind of Christmas.
Yeah.
So... But like I said, as far as if we did put him on the farm, there are barns out there, mice, other kitties. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we were just going to drop him randomly. We don't believe. We're the ones that end up with the ones that have been dropped randomly.
Yeah.
That's how we have so many of them. So you all have a beautiful, you all have a beautiful, blessed day.
Oh God, he's got a.
Oh, don't even let people enjoy their cup of coffee without gross.
You nasty boy.
He ain't the only one. Anyhow,
I'm just saying what's going on.
Don't tell them.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.